Thank you for listening to another edition of MAEG Radio. I am your host, Nicholas Zimmerman, a.k.a. the Honorable Black Entrepreneur. Today's date is January 20th, 2025. Time is approximately 11:17 a.m. Location is Elmira Correctional Facility. I am reporting to you about a visit to Marcy Correctional Facility by Governor Kathy Hochul on December 30th, 2024. This visit was in relation to the killing of Robert L. Brooks. As we already know, Mr. Brooks was killed on video camera by multiple different officers in handcuffs without putting up resistance. And Governor Kathy Hochul made a visit to the jail regarding this incident. I guess she wanted to speak to the staff and the prisoners and the inmates at the jail and assure them that she's investigating, that she has things under control. And one of the reports said that she also went to the crime scene where he was killed at. She wanted to see that for herself. I was going over a video or a report from a reporter regarding the visit of Kathy Hochul to Marcy, and he reported several things that Kathy Hochul was doing in response to this killing. This information did not come from Governor Kathy Hochul herself. However, the reporter was reporting on what his staff, what Hochul's staff told him about what she's doing. So there's several points that he reported on his show. Number one, she's going to invest $400 million to fix old cameras throughout the facilities and to buy new body cams for the officers. I don't know why this cost $400 million to do. This number seems really, really high. $400 million to fix cameras in the jail and to install cameras in every jail. I would think that you would be able to do this with $150 million. I don't know why it takes $400 million to install cameras, but, my problem here is, where's the rest of this money going to go? A lot of times when they give out a big budget like this, millions of dollars winds up in the wrong people's hands where it wasn't intended to. So I just find this $400 million number to be very suspicious regarding these cameras. Let's move on to a couple other issues. She said that she was going to create partnerships with a human rights organization called Amends, and she was going to expand the partnership with the Correctional Association. Let me address this issue. Scott Paltrowitz is my connection over at the Correctional Association. This man has done a wonderful job, an amazing job at exposing the abuses of solitary confinement, the way docs abused their privilege with solitary confinement over the years. And he put in the majority of the work along with a lot of other organizations and advocates in totally abolishing solitary confinement in New York State. But expanding the partnerships with these two organizations is not necessarily what we need. We do need Scott on deck. We need his guidance and his leadership. However, what we need more than that is for the Department of Corrections to stop denying our FOIA requests. This is where the problems lie. We put in FOIA requests for information related to abuses by correctional officers or harassment by correctional officers. It might be videotape, it may be documentation, maybe medical records, maybe mental health records. We are entitled to that as prisoners, and the people on the outside, the American public, are entitled to certain evidence under the Freedom of Information Law. And the Department of Corrections, under Governor Kathy Hochul's leadership, denies these FOIA requests. This is where the problem lies. If an officer beat me up right now and I put in a FOIA request and ask the Department of Corrections to turn over the videotape to me to show us what the officer did to me or to preserve the videotape for future litigation in the court, the Department of Corrections is just simply not going to give me that videotape. They're not going to turn it over. The court could order them to turn it over. They still won't give it over. turn it over. The court can sanction the Department of Corrections for not turning over, and they still won't turn it over. So the more you hide the abuse by the Department of Corrections and the correctional officers that work in it, the longer this is going to go on. And whatever partnerships you make with a men's or the correctional association or whoever you want to make a partnership with, it ain't going to make no difference because you are allowing the corruption to continue inside your prisons. You want to start with reform? You start with that right there. Fix the FOIA request situation. Let's move on. The Department of Corrections also controls inmate claims. They control inmate grievances. They control inmate lawsuits. They control inmate appeals. They control the medical department. They control the mental health department. They control everything. This is where the problems truly lie. The fact that our captors are in control of everything in relation to us is the problem. If you take all of these things out of the control of the Department of Corrections and let outside agencies handle these issues, for instance, the disciplinary process, when we get an infraction in jail, a misbehavior report, is handled by someone that works in the Department of Corrections. More than likely, he's friends with the person that wrote the disciplinary report against us. So how you think that's going to end up? You think we're going to get a fair shake? You think we're going to get a fair hearing? No, we're not. It's going to end in a guilty verdict every time. So if you take the disciplinary process out of the hands of the Department of Corrections and you let outside agencies handle the determination of guilt, through video conference, you could have a 3-panel judge, 3 judges on the panel. They could hear the disciplinary dispute. The officer bring his evidence, the prisoner bring his evidence, and then the people outside determine the guilt or the innocence. When you operate like that with independent people that are not friends with the Department of Corrections or the officer that brought the ticket, then you have a better shot at proving your innocence. But the way the system works now, the Department of Corrections is in control of everything. Like I said, the grievance system, the disciplinary system, the inmate claim system. If an officer come and steal my property out my cell right now, guess who's going to decide whether or not I'm going to be paid for that stuff? The lieutenant. And the lieutenant is friends with the officer that just stole it. So you know it's never going to happen. Everything is rubber stamped in the Department of Corrections. Let's move on. She also says she's going to hire an outside firm to investigate everything that go on inside the prison system. This is a good step. I agree with this step. We need outside independent people to investigate what's going on. They cannot work for the Department of Corrections. They have to be independent of the Department of Corrections. Their check cannot come from the New York State government. Then you will get a real investigation. However, I made everything easy for these people. You want to know what's going on inside your prisons? Just listen to MAEG Radio. I already laid out years and years and years of government conspiracies with inside the Department of Corrections. So you can start right there. Everything is laid out. If they need any further information, you can come holler at me. I'll tell them what needs to be corrected in this, please. A couple other things. They said the Correctional Association put out a 65-page report about 4 incidents of abuse at Marcy Correctional Facility before Mr. Robert Brooks was killed. Again, I support the correctional facility and Scott Paltrowitz wholeheartedly. However, in these reports, we need to start naming names. We need to start showing pictures. We need to start showing the supervisors that was in charge of the officers that assaulted these prisoners. We need to know how many grievances or lawsuits was filed against these particular officers. I don't know if that's in this particular report, but this is what we need. She also says she's going to activate cameras in 62 state prisons, in all of the 62 state prisons across the state of New York. Okay, fine. That sounds good. But are you going to turn over the footage to us when we file a FOIA request? What's the sense of putting these cameras in here and you ain't going to never release the footage to us? She also said that she's going to put a whistleblower hotline in the jails that prisoners could call whenever something happens. Guess what? We already got a whistleblower hotline. We have a direct phone number to the Office of Special Investigations right here on our tablets whenever the police beat on us. You know what the problem with that is? The Office of Special Investigations don't do nothing. They're just an extension of the Department of Corrections. Most of the people that work in the Office of Special Investigations are former correction officers. They're still buddies with the people that work in the Department of Corrections. So you could put as many whistleblower hotlines out there as you want. If they're not run by independent people that do not work for the Department of Corrections, then guess what's going to happen? Everything is going to be rubber stamped and swept under the rug. She also says she's going to put new staff in the Office of Special Investigations. I don't know what for. Ain't nothing going to change. All these people work for docs. Nothing's going to change there. She says she got a new superintendent at Marcy. Big deal. Ain't nothing going to change over there with no new superintendent. This is all internal. Understand what's going on here, y'all. She's also, there was a report that said Governor Kathy Hochul was calling for Marcy to fire the officers that killed Robert L. Brooks. I don't know why she's calling for anything. She's the governor. If the governor can't fire them, then you think Marcy Correctional Facility could fire them? You serious? I'm going to end here with this. I want you guys to evaluate what I'm saying, think about what I'm saying, and do your own research on these issues. I'm asking for everyone's assistance in helping me bring attention to the stories of injustice that I report about on my podcast. Here are a few very important things that I'm asking everyone to do in supporting the MAEG radio podcast and the MAEG movement as a whole. Number one, the most important thing you can do above all else is to help me get the word out to the masses about my podcast by doing the following things. Hitting the share button on all my posts so that my stories and reporting will be shared with all of your followers. Hitting the like button on all my posts so that my stories and reporting will be shared with all of your followers. Leaving a comment on my post voicing your concerns and opinions about the subjects I have reported about so that your comment is shared with all of your followers and my followers as well. Please make a donation to the MAEG movement so I can continue to pay my assistants to help me record and promote my stories of injustice on my podcast. Our address on PayPal is the maegmovement@gmail.com. Please purchase a copy of my book, My Side of the Story, The Investigation Part 1, and my album, Puz Pacino Presents New York's Illest, available on all digital retail sites, as all profits from these products are donated to the Free Nicholas Zimmerman campaign. Please be sure to visit my main websites to stay up to date on the progress I'm making with the MAEG movement at freenicholaszimmerman.com, Madison Avenue Entertainment Group.com, and thefocusmovement.com. Keep in mind that focus is spelled FOCIS. Attached to this podcast, you will see hyperlinked email addresses to the governmental officials that have the power to investigate and seek justice on the issues I address on my podcast. I ask that you email them and attach a copy of my podcast to your email so they can listen to the podcast. I also ask that you voice your concerns, opinions, and questions to these officials in your email and request that they investigate and prosecute any person that is responsible for violating the civil rights of any other person. If you would like to become an investor in our parent company, Madison Avenue Entertainment Group, please visit our crowdfunding website at www.madisonAvenueentertainmentgroup.com/investinMAEG. And lastly, anyone who wants to contact me directly can do so by creating a prisoner email account at jpay.com. That's jpay.com. And adding my name and ID number, Nicholas Zimmerman, 02A1663, as your contact. And you will be able to send me an email directly to my tablet. However, please give me 1 to 2 days to respond to you, as our messages are not instant and must go through a screening process. Thank you for your support.